to the Chompcast, the official podcast of Sword Chomp and SwordChomp.com. Thank you for downloading or streaming our show, taking some time out of your busy life, listen to us. And remember, if you're digging the show, please subscribe, leave us a kind rating, share it with your friends, whatever it takes to get the Chompcast name out there. We have the Show of Dreams today, as I'm labeling it. And yes, I promise those dreams are of the dry variety. And in that vein, our topic of the show today is expectations, and how they affect our gaming adventures, so what we expect from games and when they release, and how the reality of that lives up to that expectation. So that should be a fun topic. Shea, finally, after years of waiting, has played Cuphead, so we're really excited to talk to him about that. Yours truly, after waiting what seems like a lifetime of dreaming, has finally been able to play a fantasy fishing RPG, Final Fantasy Monster of the Deep. I'm excited as hell to talk to you guys about that. We have a member of our Chompcast crew is now the proud owner of a Nintendo Switch. And we finally have some Star Wars Battlefront 2 to talk about, which is, I know, something people have been messaging me constantly, wanting to hear our thoughts on Battlefront 2. It's going to be an amazing show. It really is. We have so much to talk to. For that reason, we don't have a Bio Break article this week, but that's okay, because we have more than enough interesting things to talk about. But let's get to some introductions. In the spirit of Star Wars, let's introduce the crew of the Chompcast for your listening pleasure. Speaking of pleasure, our first co-host is from Texas, and in honor of the Jedi, he has been studying in the ways of the Force. So if you see him going cross-eyed with a strange grimace rippling across his face, that's because he is developing a hands-free jerk-off technique where he can move his shaft skin back and forth with only the power of his mind. Anthony Fisher's here. How you doing, Fish?
Oh, I thought that's what they taught all the Jedis.
No. You get banished for that kind of stuff.
Oh. Yeah. I guess my mentor... Yeah, I better not let... Yeah. You shouldn't have said that, Morgan.
It's a dark path. That's like Sith level stuff, all right? You don't...
Well, the thing is, Yoda taught it to me. I don't know why he needs to be doing that, but...
Throwing Yoda under the bus? That's what's going on?
He'll be fine down there.
I like to think that
roll
Yoda...
right over him.
That's true.
Hit him at all. He's fine.
That bus ain't touching Yoda. He's in good. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little early in the show for a skin shaft talk, but I thought it was a creative use of the Force, Fish, so I gotta... Although, it's a lot of energy. You're sitting there going like this with your hands, and you got that grimace on your face, and you're moving it with, that just seems like a lot of work. I know it's hands-free, but come on.
I feel like you missed a joke about saying instead of foreskin, the Force skin.
Oh,
like a really
that's
bad
good.
Dad joke.
That's a good one. I like that. That. That's true.
Yeah, but it really is more of a dark side technique. I mean, Vader was always choking it with the Force.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, and keeping my so thanks for being here, Fish, and keeping my shitty Star Wars themes going. Shea Layton is here, and our good friend from Japan. Shea, I always think of you. You're more like the pilot of our group, like Poe Dameron from the Force Awakens. How does that work for you?
I don't know who that is. But yeah, it's me.
He's the pilot in the Force Awakens. He was played by Oscar Isaac.
He's the namesake for the Po' Boy sandwich.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nothing?
I do like me a good sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been that long since the Force Awakens? All right. You guys know what I'm talking about. Poe Dameron, come on, Fish. You know what I'm talking about here. The pilot, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, now I remember him.
Oscar
I
Isaac.
remember.
All right. Well, apparently that didn't work. But I'm glad you're here, Shea, today. I mean, unless you see yourself as someone else in the Star Wars universe, that's fine too.
No, I mean, he makes a good sandwich, a good po' boy, and I love me a sandwich, so that's perfect. It's kismet.
And he's a mean pilot. But yeah, I'm glad you're here, Shea, to talk about Cuphead, among other incredible things as well. And last but surely not least, Joshua Fowler is here. Now, I know it seems like an easy setup here because Josh, in many ways, would be our, dark Sith overlord, but that's too easy because I've known Josh my whole life, and it's what inside that counts. And you know, Josh on the inside is a cuddly little Ewok, isn't that right, Josh?
Mm-hmm. I do have Ewoks inside me.
Oh no.
Is that not what you were getting at there? Is that
now, that's a mental image I now have to live with forever.
They're delicious.
Oh, okay, that's what you meant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I took that in a whole different direction. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was 3 Ewoks with a human skin just covering them up.
Just like a trench coat over them.
That's right.
Yeah. Poor little guys trying to do an Eiffel Tower, but hands quite can't reach.
Oh, those poor little Ewoks.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And then we have our fearless leader played by Jar Jar Binks.
No, come on. That's the low-hanging fruit, Shea. God damn it.
He's the host of the podcast.
I was just going to say that.
I actually had myself written as an epic bounty hunter. I have like Boba Fett. I'm wearing Boba Fett's armor, but when I take off my helmet, I'm actually Natalie Portman. So that's really how my fantasy goes. Seems to line up for me. All right, everyone's just staring at me.
Ship.
How did you get my fanfic?
I got nothing.
You know, it's funny because we're talking about this fishing game later, and I was joking with my girlfriend that it was 2 of my fantasies. One, it was a Final Fantasy fishing game, so that's my ultimate fantasy, right? And number 2, you get to create a character, and I created a beautiful woman. So it was both of my fantasies, a fishing game and being a woman, wrapped up in one package. So.
And 3, you could go on vacation in your living room where she would never have to see you. Oh wait.
No. VR is great for that. When you get into a fight, just like, all right, we'll put this headset on and block out the world.
Yeah. The best
You
part
never
about
listen to
that
me.
is...
Shut up, I'm catching fish.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they can flip you off right in front of your face, and you won't even know. It's the
true.
best. Mm-hmm.
Ignorance is bliss. In VR. Buy a
That's
PlayStation VR today.
That's the new catch. Yeah, it's the new catch logo.
They should really put that on the box.
Ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm. I may buy one if they did that. That would probably sell me on it.
I would love for you to get a PS4 VR, Josh. Really, but I'm pretty sure you would probably hate it. But it's just a gut feeling that I have. Anyways, though, it's going to be an awesome show. Topic of the show, we can get right into it. Expectations is something we were talking about this week a little bit. As sort of one of our big picture gaming topics that we like to delve into. And this one's interesting, I think, for me, and I want to kind of, course, get where you guys stand on it. But when I was starting to think about this, especially playing this fishing game, and I was joking at the beginning of the show, Shea finally getting to play Cuphead and things like that. For me, I started to realize that expectations for me are almost more like a feeling than like a checklist of things I wish a game had. Like, for example, I couldn't have told you exactly what I expected from that Final Fantasy fishing game. I was just really excited about the concept, right? That's like a dream. How can you quantify that, right? What I was excited for was the feeling I was going to get. Like the excitement and that rush of the day of buying it and everything I was going to go through there. And that's when I started to realize that it wasn't so much of like a checklist as like, I hope that they have this many fish I can catch and this many lakes, and I hope that it looks this good. It was just more of like a general feeling I was hoping to get from it of just overall enjoyment and excitement and all of that. And I thought that was pretty interesting, but I wonder where you guys stand on this. Like, Josh, when you start thinking, because you talked about last week how you try to avoid pre-hype for release. So how does expectations fall in line for you in regards to that?
I mean, I'm with you there on kind of the hype being a bigger portion of expectations going into a game, like just really, really wanting to play it just because of hopes for it than for like a feature list.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I try to avoid that just so I can kind of go in neutral on games, but I mean that doesn't happen. I mean there are certain games that I end up buying beforehand just because I'm expecting them to be good. Trying to think of something recently.
Like the Last Guardian was one. I know that you.
Well, yeah, The Last Guardian, and I think my expectations going into that really made me that tainted the experience because I was expecting something drastically different than I got. And I've come to respect that game a whole lot more than I did when I first played it, but it took a long time to get over that initial, oh my god, what the hell, this is nothing like what I was expecting moment. Like I completely gave it up after like the first few days with it, and it took a month before I finally sat back down and finished the game.
Do you think that maybe your expectations were more along the lines of like, I love Shadow of the Colossus, and when I walked away from that game, I had this like powerful feeling of satisfaction or in my soul or whatever it was, and you were hoping The Last Guardian was going to give you that same sort of feeling?
I mean, possibly. I mean, because I've played all of his games so far, starting with Eco and then Shadow of the Colossus, and they did a whole lot to fix some of the control issues from one game to the next. And it ended up making a much better game the second time around. Even though I really love Eco, I think that one kind of gets overshadowed a lot just because, I mean, Shadow of the Colossus is talked about all the time. Yeah. So I don't know. I just had ideas going into it that it's been so long. We've fixed a bunch of these things. It's just going to be the perfect game, and then that was not even close to what they were going for. Once I finally got it. Like
that's a good. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Anyway.
Well, you could just tell that was not even on their checklist of things to go for. It was not a ridiculously polished AAA type game. It just wasn't it at all. And so
in a way, and this is a good segue as I throw it to Shea here, in a way, like when you your expectations subconsciously, well, I wouldn't say subconsciously, were basically that there were things that would evolve and improve over time because that's what people do. They take the things that they do poorly and they try to get better at them. And that wasn't what like, for example, with the Fallout games, people keep hoping that they're going to release a game on that scale that's not going to be like as glitchy or as buggy, and they just keep dropping them. And the games, people still love them, but they're not really able to or have been working to improve that aspect of it. So that's an interesting thing. Like in my mind, I would think, okay, my expectations would be that those games would get better at that while still remaining these grand epic games. But Shea, as I throw the question to you as far as expectations go, where do you weigh in on this?
I think expectations play a very big role in how we digest art, because especially in this medium. I think about something that continually is on my mind all year, Gravity Rush 2, where I was told to play that game and I literally knew nothing about it. And any expectations I had, which were basically, I don't know this fucking game, I'm not going to like it, were exceeded, obviously, because there was such low expectation. Whereas something like Cuphead this week, I have had very high expectations for that for a while now, and hearing you guys talk about it so much, I was like, damn, this has got to be a good game. And I constantly see news articles about it, and then when I first played it, it didn't grab me as much as I thought it would. And from there, as I played it more, I ended up liking it more. So it's expectations are a very fickle thing, because I think it helps if you don't go into a game listening to a CD, something like that, any type of art medium, if you don't go